for doing something that he does consistently, attacking a woman in intense personal terms. He has turned those attacks on Nikki Haley in recent days on his Truth Social platform, referring to her by her given first name, Nimarata, although he misspelled it. That's also classic Trump. And then there's this, an image we're going to show you briefly, and then I'm taking it down, but just so you can kind of get a flavor of this, it is not the first time Nikki Haley has been compared to Hillary Clinton, but it is the first time that I have seen it done this way by a former president of the United States, and of course copies Hillary Clinton's campaign logo as well. I'm struggling to find the right word, vulgar perhaps, the kind of the way that this is going here. But it makes me uncomfortable. It's something that only would be done to women candidates.
All right, folks. So as we've been talking about on this channel for a while now, and I've been trying to raise the alarm because clearly some people still don't get this, conservatives, Republicans. Yeah, I'm looking at you. There seems to be this running phenomenon of liberal media. This is your CNNs, your MSNBCs of the world, continuously running cover for Nikki Haley. And if you're a conservative like myself, that should be highly concerning and alarming to you, because this woman presents as one of us. We're told she's running in the Republican primary. So you should be asking yourself the question, why does it seem like at every chance they get, liberal press wants to defend this woman? And of course, the simple answer that clearly some people still don't understand is that the woman is not on our side. At best, I think it's an issue of follow the money, right? She's part of the UNIPARTY. She's part of the corporate establishment. So of course, corporate media is going to defend her and deep down wouldn't mind her being in office. And while it may be true that your average CNN anchor and Nikki Haley may have some slight disagreement on certain social issues, although I would argue Nikki Haley is probably the most socially liberal Republican still in the race, but still I digress. Ultimately, what they see is the same, right? She's going to continuously sell the country out to transnational corporations. She's going to continue all the foreign wars. Ultimately, she poses no threat to the current class of people in power, and that's what this is all about. So we got a CNN panel today to react to that further demonstrates this fact, but this all really began, just so I can show a couple examples of this. I mean, we did do a video, but just as a refresher, Tuesday night when Nikki Haley lost in the Iowa Caucus, notice you had Reid of MSNBC claiming that the reason she lost is not just because, she's not conservative, she's a terrible candidate, whatever. It's because she's a woman of color. So here they go using liberal arguments about so-called conservative candidates. Take a listen here.
New Hampshire.
And I think to the point that you made, Steph, I mean, it's the elephant in the room. She's still a brown lady that's got to try to win in a party that is deeply anti-immigrant and which accepts the notion that you can say immigrants are poisoning the blood of our country. She's getting, birthered by Donald Trump. And I don't care how much the donor class likes her, which will ramp up a lot, the better she does in New Hampshire. So it's still a challenge. I don't see how she becomes the nominee of that party with Donald Trump still around. I can't picture it happening. Maybe it could happen. Ron DeSantis' only argument for staying in it is he's the white guy, that he can still make the appeal to white evangelists.
While we have
So I think that tells you everything you need to know. Because yes, Vivek Ramaswamy is out of the race now, but at the time that this was recorded, that was not true. He was still in it, okay? And he did worse than Nikki Haley. And he's also darker than Nikki Haley, woman of color. Well, he's a man of color who's much, much darker. Why did she never bring that up? Well, again, it's because Vivek Ramaswamy is someone they actually principally disagree with, right? Vivek is actually not on their side. And this is the question I posed to the Nikki Haley defenders out there is, okay, you can say, oh, liberal media is just looking for things to talk about, but that's not true at all. Because if this woman was actually authentically conservative or actually a threat to the system, do you think they would be defending her like this? When Kari Lake ran for governor in Arizona, was anyone saying, oh, well, she's a woman, so she might struggle, blah, blah, blah? No, of course not, because someone like Kari Lake actually disagreed with MSNBC. But of course, when you're in political alignment with them, like Nikki Haley is, of course, then they will use that card to defend you in the same way they used the woman card with Hillary Clinton. right? See the point I'm making? Okay. With that said, let's get into the actual video we're here to react to today, where this CNN anchor does a rant about Trump criticizing Nikki Haley and comparing her to Hillary Clinton, which I think is a very appropriate comparison. And this woman basically claims that it's racist and sexist to criticize Nikki Haley and to disagree with Nikki Haley. Okay, so take a listen here. And remember, supposedly this woman is not on their side, right? Okay, take a listen.
She's expected to testify today. That jury is going to decide just how much Trump will have to pay for doing something that he does consistently, attacking a woman in intense personal terms. He has turned those attacks on Nikki Haley in recent days on his Truth Social platform, referring to her by her given first name, Nimrata, although he misspelled it. That's also classic Trump. He also recently amplified a post falsely claiming that Haley was not eligible to run for president because her parents were not U.S. citizens at the time that she was born. And then there's this, an image we're going to show you briefly, and then I'm taking it down.
Okay, by the way, because she's about to claim that this is because she's a woman. Okay, let's read this really quickly. Anyone listening to Nikki Nimrata Haley's whacked out speech last night, which, by the way, they claim that it's racist to call Nikki Haley by her real original given name, which is Nimrata, right? Wow, how dare you, point out that that's not actually her name. Oh my gosh, that's racist. Okay. So I guess Indian names are race. I don't know. But anyways, would think that she won the Iowa primary. She didn't, and she couldn't even beat a very flawed Ron DeSanctimonious, who's out of money and out of hope. Nikki came in a distant third. She said she would never run against me. He was a great president, and she should have followed her own advice. Now she's stuck with weak policies and a very strong MAGA base, and there's just nothing she can do. So again, according to CNN, this is sexist, and he's singling her out because she's a woman. Okay, well, let me provide you a different perspective, which is, newsflash, Donald Trump does this to everyone? What do you mean? Like, this is Trump, okay? He's going after a primary opponent, just like he's gone after basically all of his primary opponents. Oh my gosh. Okay, anyways.
At the time that she was born. And then there's this, an image we're going to show you briefly, and then I'm taking it down, but just so you can kind of get a flavor of this, it is not the first time Nikki Haley has been compared.
So true, Donald Trump, so true. This is real. Yes, she is Hillary Clinton, exactly.
Hillary Clinton, but it is the first time that I have seen it done this way by a former president of the United States. It, of course, copies Hillary Clinton's campaign logo as well. Let's dive into all this with today's panel. Mo Alithi is the executive director of Georgetown Institute of Politics and Public Service, also former DNC comms director. Lance Trover, the former spokesperson for North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum's 2024 presidential campaign.
Shout out Doug Burgum. Let's go. Eyebrow man. Very, very cool.
And Farnoosh Shamiri, congressional reporter for the Associated Press. Welcome to all of you.
All right, here we go.
Mo,
this is going to be a treat, guys.
These attacks from Trump on Nikki Haley, because they're really, like, I didn't want to use the word ugly in the script because I don't want it tied with, like, their faces, or for anyone to remotely say that I'm suggesting I'm talking about either one of these women's appearance. I'm struggling to find the right word. Vulgar, perhaps, the kind of the way that this is going here. But it makes me uncomfortable. It's something that only would be done to women candidates.
Oh, really?
Frankly.
Only be done to women candidates. That's rich. First of all, I don't even see where Trump really attacked Nikki Haley's appearance, okay? He did the video photoshopping her, or the photo photoshopping her on Hillary Clinton's face. Why? Because he's trying to compare her to Hillary Clinton, which is, of course, I think very appropriate in many ways. But if that's an attack on the appearance, that photo you saw, then what are you saying about Hillary Clinton's appearance, okay? So I've not even seen that be made. I don't know what she's talking about. But the idea that she also said, oh, this is only done to women candidates. Yeah, because Donald Trump never nicknamed Ron DeSantis Meatball Ron. Yeah, that was something that never happened, right? Trying to call him fat or husky, whatever. Chris Christie, those jokes were never made over the course of many political years here. Rand Paul in 2016, you remember, he kind of did that. Little Marco. No. This is only a woman thing. Okay. But yeah, also notice how upset she is. She's white knighting. She's like, you attacked Nikki Haley. Again, I ask you the question. If Nikki Haley, principally speaking, were actually conservative and were actually against the system and all this stuff, again, do you think she'd be so concerned trolling about it? No, of course not. Why is she defending Nikki Haley? Why is CNN trying to defend Nikki Haley? Because they like Nikki Haley. That's the truth. She's their favorite Republican. And if it's a favorite Republican of CNN, shouldn't be your favorite Republican. That's all I have to say.
What is Trump doing here?
He's doing what Trump does, right? I mean, this is what he does. I don't want to normalize it, but at the same time, I'm not surprised.
No,
I'm not
that's
sure
the thing.
anyone
None of it's surprising.
should be surprised.
What Trump does to both genders, okay?
By it. We shouldn't normalize it either. But this is what Trump does. He tries to tap into people's base instincts, and he likes to stir up outrage. He loves that we are talking about it because his base voters, who are anti-establishment, anti-us, look at that and say, man, you really got under their, you were just joking, but look how you got under their skin. And that's been the secret to his success with Republican voters, in part for quite some time now. We should not normalize it. We should speak out against it. And I do wonder if...
You know what? That's actually a great point by this guy, right? If the goal of Trump is to bait CNN, then the host here did a very good job of it, because she's like, you attack Nikki Haley. How dare you criticize her? How dare you attack her the way you attack everyone else? You're a sexist, Donald Trump. It's because she's a woman, right? It's just cringe, terrible content that is over the years has been a big part of the reason why CNN's credibility has gone so far down with so many people. Yeah, that's actually a great point. By doing this segment, you are playing into Trump's hands, and you're playing in what he wants, which is take the bait, and then liberal media gets outraged at it, and then his supporters and even some people in the middle say, well, wow, they sound kind of stupid saying that, and then, you get what you get. So that's actually a good point.
Against the backdrop of a lot of other stuff going on right now, for example, like the overturning of Roe v. Wade, it might have a real impact on particularly suburban women voters who are tired of Trump's chaos. They are tired of attacks on women's freedom. They are tired of his childish insults. Will he have maybe gone that step too far this time? We'll see.
Well, I mean, my God, how many times have we asked if Trump has taken a step too far? I mean, I go back to the POW, like mocking John McCain for war. Anyway, Lance, I mean, what do you make of this? I mean, Nikki Haley, I will say.
Yeah. Of all the things Trump has said over the years, I'm sure calling Nikki Haley Nimrata, he was going to win the suburban woman vote before, but this is the fight. Yeah, okay, CNN. Yeah, here you go. Overreacting, trying to clickbait, trying to make news out of nothing. Okay.
To her credit, I mean, she was the governor of South Carolina. She faced a lot of South Carolina politics are famous for being nasty behind the scenes, also in public. She beat them all
Why don't you just endorse her then?
As a woman of color, a Republican woman of color. And I honestly I covered that whole campaign. She was fierce in defending. I mean, she had racist attacks against her in that campaign as well. I mean, how do you see her standing up it's going to be a key test here in 6 days. How close can she come to Donald Trump? How do you think she stands up to this?
Well,
why don't you just endorse her? Okay, because clearly you have such fond feelings about her. Again, I go back to the conservatives. If CNN is talking this way about your candidate, that should be a pretty red flag. Yeah, she's a brave, fierce woman of color. She stood up for herself. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah? But you say she's a Republican? You claim she's a conservative? You claim she would be a right-winger as president? Okay, yeah. Keep believing that, right? UNIPARTY. She's on their side. That's what it's about.
Remember, she's obviously doing pretty well in New Hampshire, or else she wouldn't be taking in attacks from Ron DeSantis and Donald Trump. So let's just start there. When it comes to Donald Trump, you're right, Mo. I mean, this is his. When he comes at you, though, he comes at you from 12 different directions, and that is how he has worked. Again, we don't want to normalize that, but that is what he does, and it's a strategy that has been effective for him from day one, and you're seeing it here today.
Farnoosh, let me let you weigh in.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. This is going to be great, guys.
I mean, it goes back to the comment that she makes about this not being a racist country. I mean, the candidates have really tried to focus on specific candidates. Nikki Haley is the only person of color currently running in this primary, has focused on, I have experienced racism, but this is not a racist country. And Donald Trump using the name that she...
Again, okay, in fairness to this segment, at least Vivek dropped out, but do they do this with him? No. It doesn't matter that Vivek is also Indian and also, again, much darker. Like, Nikki Haley can pass for white. Vivek Ramaswamy cannot pass for white. But, Vivek challenges them. Vivek is against their system, against their power. And so, you know, again, I'm saying the same thing here, but I just want to make that observation every time you hear it.
She changed because she knew about the vitriol that me as a woman named Farnoosh also faced. Yeah. I mean, he's proving her, you know, the opposite of her point, where there is still racism in this country. It's apparent in this race. And at this point, I mean, I don't know what worse thing he could say about her. Well, we are many days.
Oh, trust me, we can say far worse things about her. Don't challenge him, okay? I've probably said far worse things about her than Trump has. So don't even go there. Don't even go there. And again, I'm sure it's not just because she is soft on every issue having to deal with conservatism. She's highly corrupt. Okay, she's highly corrupt. She is a warmonger. She shills for the establishment. She is backed heavily by literal Democrats. But if you criticize her because she's a woman of color, who else have we heard those talking points about before? Kamala Harris comes to mind. Hillary Clinton comes to mind. Again. This like very liberal woman here. Why are they so favorable towards her? Interesting, right?
Sometimes I've said that and I thought, oh, wow, you know, I do not have the
and by the way, where is the actual racism, quote unquote, in any of this? Like, where are they even seeing it? Oh, because he said her name and spelled it wrong. Yeah, because Donald Trump never does that to anyone else, right? He definitely didn't call Ron DeSantis Rob DeSanctus or Rob DeSanctimonious the whole campaign cycle. Yeah, but you know, just because obviously she's a woman of color, guys. That's the real reason. Okay. Anyways, to further this point, to show you something, all right? I've heard reports of this. Now, I'm going to go on the record saying I don't know if this is substantiated. And part of the reason I'm bringing it up is because I want to know if anyone lives in New Hampshire and for whatever reason you're watching CNN or MSNBC. I would like to hear whether or not this is true. But I apparently have heard that Nikki Haley is currently running ads on MSNBC and CNN prior to the New Hampshire primary, right? And of course, why would she be doing that? Because if you're actually trying to win over conservative voters, the last place to be campaigning is CNN or MSNBC. I could maybe understand and be able to justify the mainstream, non-cable news outlets. You know, maybe you run on ABC or regular NBC, you know, in concurrence with the nightly news or a sports game or something. But it's pretty well known, like, not many Republicans watch those two outlets. They're highly partisan. They're highly liberal. And again, I don't know if this is true or not, but I will say, if this is true, and New Hampshireans, you can confirm if you've seen this, okay, then that would only reinforce the point, which is when you look at the strategy that Nikki Haley is employing in New Hampshire, and the reason that the polls are as close as they are, although that seems to be widening on behalf of Donald Trump, is because her strategy in Tuesday's election is literally to get, because New Hampshire is an open primary state, right? You don't need to be Republican to vote for the Republican primary. So her strategy, obviously, is that she wants to get registered Democrats and independents to go out and vote for her. Okay? Now, again, if en masse anti-Trump partisan Democrats, I'm not talking about, I was a Democrat most of my life, but now I'm not. No. Just literal Democrats. If your campaign strategy is appealing to them and trying to get them to turn out against Trump, again, I ask, what do you think the intention of that campaign is here? And if you see CNN and liberal media talking about her the way they're talking about her, and you consider that's her strategy, and then the liberal media is running cover, what do you think's the deal with all of this, folks? It's very obvious. So, shame on conservatives who are still falling for the Nikki Haley garbage, okay? She is clearly, like I've been saying, a Trojan horse in this party, and that's why they defend her so much. And so this is why on this channel, people wonder, why are you so brutal against her? Why do you attack her so much? Because to me, she's indistinguishable from a corporate Democrat. That's the reason why. And in many ways, the subverter or the traitor is worse than the outright enemy, right? It's easier to see the Democrat coming, right? Because they're coming from 100 miles away. You see them coming. Whereas the subverter or the spy or the controlled opposition within your own ranks, you know, that is 100% more threatening in many ways. And that's obviously what Nikki Haley is. And I hope, you know, we got a big election on Tuesday. Hope everyone understands that by now. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, let me know your thoughts on all of this in the comment section down below. Why do you think CNN is so adamant in defending Nikki Haley? Let me know. Be sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new. And until next time, Alpha Moves Only. Have a great Friday. God bless and peace.